Right principles. It is well to know what comes first and what to do first. To begin anything in the middle or at the end is to make a model of it. The others who began by breaking the top will not receive the prize. He must begin by facing the starter and towing the mark, and even then a good start is important if he is to win. The first things in a sound life, and therefore in a truly happy and successful life, are right principles. Without right principles to begin with, there will be wrong practices to follow it, and the bungled and the wretched life to end with. All the infinite variety of calculation which tabulae and the commerce and science of world come out to their 10 figures. All the hundreds of thousands of books which constitute the literature of the world and perpetuate its thought and genuine are built up for the 26 letters. The greatest astronomer cannot ignore the 10 simple figures. The profoundest man of genius cannot dispense with the 26 simple characters. The fundamentals in all things are few and simple. Yet without them there is no knowledge and no achievement. The fundamentals and the basic principles in life or true living are also few and simple, and to learn them thoroughly and study how to apply them to all the details of life is to avoid confusion and secure a substantial foundation for the orderly building up of a invincible character and permanent success, and to succeed in comprehending those principles in their innumerable ramifications in the labyrinth of conduct is to become a master of life. The first principle is life in the principles of conduct. To name them is easy, as mere words that are on the all men's lips, but as fixed sources of action, admitting of no compromise, few have learned them. Unless short talk, I will deal with the five, only these principles. These five are among the simplest of the root principles of life, but they are those that come nearest to the everyday life, for they touch the artisan or businessman, the householder, the citizen at every point. Not one of them can be dispensed with but at the severe cost, and he who perfects himself in their application will rise superior to many of the troubles and follies of life, and will come into these springs and currents of thought, which flow harmoniously towards the regions of enduring success. The first of these principles is duty. A much hackneyed word, I know, but it contains a rare jewel for him who will seek it by assiduous application. The principle of duty means a strict adherence to one's own business and a just and strict non-interference in the business of others. The man who is continually instructing others grudges how to manage their affairs as to one who most mismanages his own. Duty also means undivided attention to the matter in hand, intelligent concentration of mind on the work to be done. It includes all that is meant by thoroughness, exactness, and efficiency. The details of duties differ from individuals, and each man should know his own duty better than he knows his neighbor's, and better than his neighbor's knows his. But although the working details differ, the principle is always the same. Who has mastered the demands of duty Honesty is the next principle. I love it. It means not cheating or overcharging another. It involves the absence of all trickery, lying, and deception by word, look, or gesture. It includes sincerity, the saying what you mean, and the meaning what you say. It scorns creating policy and a shining compliment. It builds up in a good reputations, and the good reputations build up good businesses, and the bright joy accompanies well-earned success. Who has scaled the heights of honesty? Economy is the third principle. The conversation of one's financial resources is merely the vestibule leading towards the more spacious chambers of a true economy. It means as well the husbanding of our physical vitality and the mental resources. It demands the conservation of energy by the avoidance of enervating self-indulgence and the sensual habits. It holds for its followers strength, endurance, resilience, and the capacity to achieve. It bestows great power on him who learns it well, who has realized the supreme strength of economy. Liberty follows economy. It is not opposed to it. Only the man of economy can afford to be generous. Oh yeah, the the spendthrift, whether in money, vitality, or mental energy, wasted so much his measurable pleasures as to have none left to bestow upon others. The giving of money is the smallest part of the liberty. There is a giving of thoughts and deeds, and a sympathy, and bestowing of goodwill, the being generous toward calumniators and opponents. It is a principle that possesses a noble, far-reaching influence. It brings a loving friends and a staunch comrade. It's an foe of loneliness and despair, who has measured the breadth of liberty. Self-control is the last of these five principles, yet the most important. Its neglect is a cause of vast misery, innumerable failures, and tens of thousands of financial, physical, and mental risks. Self-control, yeah. Show me the businessman who loses his temper with a customer over some trivial matter, and I will show you a man who, by that condition of mind, is doomed to failure. If all men practiced in even initial stages of self-control, anger, what is consuming and destroying fire, would be known. The lessons of patience, purity, gentleness, kindness, and steadfastness, which are contained in the principle of self-control, are slowly learned by men, yet until they are truly learned, a man's character and success are uncertain and insecure. Rare is the man who has perfected himself in self-control. Where he may be, he is master indeed. The five principles of five practice, five avenues to achievement, and the five sources of knowledge. It is an old saying and a good rule that practice makes perfect. And he who would make his own the wisdom which is inherent in those principles must not merely have them on his lips, they must be established in his heart. To know them and receive what they alone can bring, he must do them and give them out in his actions. Beautiful. I love this book. Sound methods from the five foregoing right principles, when they are truly apprehended and practiced, were essential methods. Right principles are manifested in harmonious action, and the method is the life, while law is the universe. Everywhere in the universe there is the harmonious adjustment of parts, and it is this is symmetry and harmony that reveals in the cosmos as distinguished from chaos. So in human life, the difference between a true life and a force, between one purposeful, effective, and one purposeless and weak, is one of method. The false life is an incoherent jumble of thoughts, passions, and actions. The true life is an orderly adjustment of all its parts. It is all the difference between a mass of lumber as in a smoothly working efficient machine, a piece of machinery in perfect working order, as not only useful, but an admirable and attractive thing. But when its parts are all out of gear and refuse to be readjusted, its usefulness and attractiveness are gone, and it is a thorn on the scale heap. Likewise in life, perfectly adjusted in all its parts, so as to achieve the highest point of efficiency, is not only a powerful, but an excellent and beautiful thing. Whereas a life confused, inconsistent, discordant, is an deplorable exhibition of wasted energy, and life is truly lived. The method must enter into and regulate every detail of it, as it enters and regulates in every detail of the wondrous universe of which we form a part. One of distinguishing differences between a wise man and a foolish is that the wise man pays careful attention to the smallest things, while the policeman slurs and over them or neglects them altogether. Must careful attention to the smallest things. Wisdom consists in maintaining things on their right relations, and keeping on things, the smallest and as wise to the greatest, in their proper places and times. 2. Violent order is producing confusion and discord, and unhappiness is but another name for discord. The good businessman knows that system is in a three part of success, and that disorder means in failure. The wise man knows that disciplined, methodical living in three parts of happiness, and that losing it means misery. Wise fool, but in one can things carelessly, acts rashly, and lives loosely. What is wise man but one who thinks carefully, acts calmly, and lives consistently? The true method does not end with the orderly arrangement of material things and external relations of life. This is but its beginning. It enters into adjustment of the mind, the discipline of the passions, the elimination of choice of words in speech, the logical arrangement of the thoughts, and the selection of right actions. Isn't it beautiful? Wow. The true method is not, and with all the arrangement of material things and external relations of life, this is but its beginning. It enters into the adjustment of the mind, the discipline of the passions, the elimination of choice of words in speech, the logical arrangement of thoughts, and the selection of the right action. To achieve a life rendered sound, successful, and sweet by the persuasion of some methods, one must begin not by neglect of little everyday things, but by assiduous attention to them, thus that an hour of rising is important and its regularity insignificant, as also the timing of retiring to rest and the number of hours in a given to sleep perfect. Between the regularity and irregularity of meals and the care and carelessness with which they are eaten is all the difference between a good and a bad digestion, whether all the heat applies and irritable or comfortable frame of mind. Whether it's a train of good or bad consequences for attaching of these meal times and meal ways and matters of both physiological and psychological significance. The due division of hours for business and for play, not confusing the two, the orderly feeding, all the details of the one's business, times of solitude, for a silent die, and for effective action, for eating and for abstinence, and all these things that must have their lawful place in the life of him whose daily round is the process within a minimum degree of the friction, who is to get the most usefulness, influence, and the joy out of life. But all this is but the beginning of that comprehensive method which embraces the whole life and being. When this smooth order and logical consistency is extended to the words and actions, to the thoughts and desires, when wisdom emerges from folly, and out of weakness comes power sublime. When man so orders his mind as to produce a beautiful working harmony between all its parts, then he reaches the highest wisdom, the highest efficiency, the highest happiness. But this is the end, and he who would reach the end must begin at the beginning. He must systematize and render logical and smooth the smallest details of his life, proceeding step by step towards a finished accomplishment. But it's just that will yield its own particular measure of strength and gladness. To sum up, method produces that smoothness which goes with the strength and the efficiency. Discipline is method applies to the mind. It produces that calmness which goes with the power and happiness. Method is working by rule. Discipline is living by rule. By working and living are not separate. There are but two aspects of character of life. Therefore, be orderly in work, be accurate in speech, be logical in thought. Beautiful. Between dissonance, slowness, inaccuracy, and confusion is the difference between success and failure, music and discord, happiness and misery. Discord, okay. The adoption of sound methods of working, acting, thinking in a world of living, and the surest and safest and foundation for sound health, sound success, sound peace of mind. The foundation of unsound methods will be found to be unstable and to yield fear and unrest, even when it appears to succeed, and when, as the time of failure comes, it is grievous indeed. It's a beautiful book. I love this book. Oh my god, James Allen. Okay. Good job, Irene. See you tomorrow.